Nebraska and Matt Rhule just made a sneaky good move. The Huskers have hired former South Carolina offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley to add to the staff effective immediately. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my instant reaction. Who is this guy? What does he bring to the table? His pros, his cons. Is this a good hire for the Huskers? Where do we go from here? And everything else you need to know, along with the growing uncertain future around Nebraska running back coach E.J. Barthel and Addison Williams. A couple big-time programs are trying to take them away from the Big Red. We'll talk about whether or not they will stay. If they will leave, where do we go from here, and so much more. So really quick, this is a big time update. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, this is the only channel on Nebraska YouTube that posts this type of stuff, talking recruiting, transfer portal, coaching carousel. If you want to stay in tune with the Huskers this offseason, it's no brainer. It takes 2 seconds. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Matt Rhule just revealed they would add a surprise offensive coach to the staff very soon. Now, we thought it might be a running back coach, a quarterback coach, a recruiter, but it was just announced that Nebraska has hired former South Carolina offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley effective immediately. Now, let's start off with his track record, with his history. He has been the South Carolina offensive line coach from 2023 to 2025. He was fired just a couple months ago. Before South Carolina, he was the offensive line coach at North Carolina Central, Arkansas Pine Bluff, a couple other FCS schools. He's a good track record up until South Carolina. But with the Gamecocks, his career fell apart. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to begin this video, even though I do think it's a good hire. We'll get into it. This year at South Carolina, they quite literally had the worst offensive line in Power 4 football. We think that Raiola was bad. We think that our offensive line was bad. It was nothing compared to South Carolina. They gave up 4 sacks a game. That's the worst in SEC. That's the worst in Power 4. They could not make adjustments. A lot of guys who are very talented on that offensive line never live up to expectations. And Lonnie Teasley was fired very early on the season because the entire fan base revolted against him. They were happy when he was fired. However, here's the good news. I know a lot of Nebraska fans are saying, Wilson, that's not good news. That's not good news. This is a guy that's not a great offensive line coach. The good news is we're not hiring him to be our offensive line coach. Sure, he might help out with the offensive line, but we're mostly hiring him to play to his strengths. And here's what he can do. Number one, he has a great track record. So although it didn't really work out at South Carolina, he still has a great track record at every other stop he's taken. We know that he has Matt Rhule connections. Matt Rhule actually originally hired him at Temple. Whether you like it or not, Matt Rhule feels comfortable hiring guys that he knows in the past. And this is somebody who he's very familiar with and very comfortable with. And this is somebody who knows how to coach up, particularly the guards in the center. So I know a couple months ago, people were like, well, maybe we should have a tackles coach and a guard coach. We should have 2 different offensive line coaches. Well, this is kind of why we're bringing him in. We're going to have Jeep Wade, who's kind of all around our main offensive line coach. And then we're going to have this guy who mostly focuses on the guards and the interior, right? So that helps us. Even though his track record's not phenomenal these past 3 years, it helps us. Adding more coaches to the staff is never really a bad thing. And honestly, the best part about adding Lonnie Teasley, and this cannot be overstated, is this is one of the best recruiters in America, particularly from an offensive line standpoint. Now, at South Carolina, in only 3 seasons, he got multiple 5-stars over there, multiple big-time 4-stars. He's somebody who is a player's coach who everybody gravitates towards. He built a relationship with these offensive linemen overnight. And this is needed, especially for the transfer portal for recruiting, because, again, our recruiting for the 27 class, you could argue it's going to take a hit without Donovan Raiola. That's really the only thing he could do well. Donovan was a really good recruiter. Without him, that's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to forge those relationships, but you're bringing in a guy like him who is a great recruiter, not only for the high school ranks, but for the transfer portal. And in the transfer portal, that's where really the recruiting implications show very quickly, because you need to build relationships overnight, in the span of a week, in the span of 2 weeks. So Lonnie Teasley is a great recruiter. He's a player's coach. Once again, he has that Matt Rhule connection. Yes, the South Carolina tenure was not very good. He was fired, but every other stop he's taken, he's had success. And you can likely believe that he's still on the upper trajectory. Again, he's still young. He's only about 40 years old. I'd say he's even younger than 40. He might be even 35. So I do like this hire. In my opinion, it is a low-risk, high-ceiling move. Okay, where the reason why it's low risk, if he stinks it up, it is what it is, right? He's not our main offensive line coach. But if he's great, if he is a great addition, which I think he could be, he bolsters the offensive line, particularly the guards, particularly the center. He bolsters our recruiting. We get some top-tier talent because of this guy. He's here for the foreseeable future. If Jeep Wade were ever to move on, which, that is kind of in Jeep Wade's track record to move on after a couple seasons, right? Then this could be our next guy, next offensive line coach. I like this move. I really do. I'm not just sugarcoating to say that. I like it. It is a low-risk, high-ceiling move. And you can never have enough talented coaches on your staff. So Lonnie Teasley, this was the surprise addition. Now, it might not be the surprise addition. It is for a fact that we're adding him, but you never know. Maybe Matt Rhule is referring to something else. We might still add a couple assistants here and there, maybe somebody help out the quarterback, somebody help out the running backs, because those are a couple of other positional groups that need help. I mean, we just need the help all over, right? We need the help all over. We need all hands on deck for a crucial year 4. Talking about this coaching staff, the rumors have started to begin around Nebraska running back coach EJ Barthel. Now, to set the stage for you, this is somebody who's honestly been rumored every single offseason. After year 1, there were rumors he was going to move on. He ended up staying. After year 2, there were significant rumors he was going to move on. Texas interviewed him. I believe Penn State interviewed him. A couple other big-time schools interviewed him to go elsewhere. He ended up staying with Nebraska. We extended him. And I remember at the time, last offseason, when he was rumored to leave, everybody was kind of okay with it. Everybody was saying, oh, EJ Barthel can go. He's not a good recruiter, really hasn't developed much. And I was kind of the only one defending EJ Barthel at the time. However, the rumors have begun once again. That's not too shocking, right? If rumors happen every offseason, you kind of thought they would happen again, especially when it was just announced yesterday that Texas has fired their running back coach, Chad Scott, effective immediately. Now, the reason why this is important is because Texas wanted EJ Barthel last year. They had an offer on the table for EJ, and he declined to go back to Nebraska. So one can likely believe if Texas and Steve Sarkisian want him last year, they will want him again, especially after what he did this year. Because from an outsider perspective, they saw Emmett Johnson, who was a raw running back, go from middle of the pack to quite literally top 5 in America. That's thanks to EJ Barthel. Now, we as Nebraska fans know that maybe it wasn't all because of EJ Barthel, but that's what the outside thinks. So, like it or not, EJ Barthel, he's going to be widely wanted over these next couple weeks, over these next couple months. There are going to be some big-time programs who are trying to get him because of what Emmett Johnson did. Okay, Emmett Johnson is going to secure EJ Barthel a lot of money, whether that's at Nebraska or somewhere else. So I'm watching out for Texas. I'm watching out for a couple other big-time programs because, again, we're going to get more firings over the next couple of days, and you better believe EJ Barthel is going to get a call. And again, there have already been rumors for a long time that he doesn't love it in Lincoln. We don't know that for a fact, but there's a reason why this pops up almost every single offseason, right, about him leaving. So again, with Texas opening up their job, something to monitor. And again, would this be a loss for Nebraska? Again, I will say this, and the same thing I said to you guys a couple months ago when it was rumored the first time around, is that it is a loss from a recruiting standpoint. He is a great recruiter. He really, especially in the Chicago, Illinois area, Trey Taylor's somebody who says he probably wouldn't come in here if it weren't for EJ Barthel. Klama Puma, another guy in the Chicago area, probably wouldn't came here if it weren't for EJ Barthel. So, like it or not, EJ Barthel's a great recruiter. He hasn't really done a good job landing running back recruits. Like, we've landed 3-star after 3-star with him. We just landed Amir Brown, I guess, who's a 4-star. But he's not the best when it comes to running back recruits, but he's built some good connections also in Chicago and also on the East Coast. So I do think he's a good recruiter. But as for development, if we were to lose him, I don't think it'd be a huge loss. Because, yes, Emmett Johnson took a huge jump. But other than Emmett, who's took a big jump under Barthel? Was it Mekhi? No. Was Isaiah Mozee? Isaiah really didn't progress from week 1 to week 12. What about some players last year? Did Amir Johnson ever improve? No. What about Gabe Irvin? What about even a Dante Dowdell? Did Dante get better from week 1 to week 12? He got worse. So I would argue EJ Barthel's really not that great of a developer. I think we've seen that with 3 years here at this point, even though Emmett took a huge jump. But let me know your thoughts down below about EJ Barthel. I'm sure these rumors are going to continue to intensify with Texas opening up their position, and a couple other Big Ten schools will do the same within these next couple weeks. And then Addison Williams is a guy that I still have my eyes on. Now, I know that recently Matt Rhule's been in press conferences, he's been on interviews, and he said, well, Addison's going to be here guaranteed no matter who we hire with our DC. Of course, it was announced that we've hired Rob Orich. And so, of course, Addison Williams is going to be here. He's a great secondary coach. We're not going to fire him. But the reason why I bring him up is because, again, he's going to get big-time offers elsewhere. In Nebraska, we got to pony up. We feel good about Addison from a developmental standpoint, from a game playing standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint. Okay, pay him what he deserves then. Because, again, it was just announced that Florida State has fired their DB coach, Patrick Surtain. And again, if we know there's one school that's willing to pay up, it's Florida State. They took our guys last year, right? So I would absolutely watch out for Florida State. Again, there's going to be some more programs who fire their DB coaches. There are going to be some programs who fire their DCs. And Nebraska can promise Addison Williams a lot. Again, we can promise him a role. We can promise him money. But there's one thing we can't promise him. We can't promise him that he's going to be our defensive coordinator because we already have our defensive coordinator. Addison Williams has a track record of being a DC. I still believe that he might be off for that position. Because, again, the coaching carousel is just beginning. Some big-time programs have filled out their spots, but again, some other programs haven't. Okay, there's still moves that are going to be made. There are still wide-open vacancies at DC nationwide. So, again, Florida State might come calling to be their DB coach. There might be a couple other schools who come calling to be the DC over there. You just never know with Addison Williams. He's staying with Nebraska, at least for now. Okay, we want him here. He wants it to be here. but a lot can change. We know how college football is. College football is unpredictable. This is the coaching carousel. That's why they call it the carousel, because it's, again, crazy things happen. And just because we feel good about a coach being here right now, he might not be here tomorrow. He might not be here in a week. So watch out for Addison Williams. Now, I know I'm going to get questions about the rest of the coaching staff. Again, Matt Rhule made it clear no more firings are happening. So again, Rod Voracek is staying. We reported that the entire time. He bought a house in Lincoln recently, so he's staying. Dane is not moving on. I know I got that question recently. We might get people asking who's going to get demoted. Like, the only guy I think might get demoted is Glenn Thomas, because you could argue he's really not done a good job developing Dylan, even though I think he's a decent recruiter. If he were to be demoted, he'd probably go to administrative role, but I don't even know if that's going to happen. I think he'll probably stay as the quarterback coach because he's Matt Rhule's buddy, and Matt Rhule still kind of has a bad tendency of keeping his buddies around, Satterfield and Glenn Thomas included. So, all right, guys, let me thoughts down below what you're thinking about both of these coaches potentially leaving, if you think he'll stay. What do you think about Lonnie Teasley being added to this coaching staff? I know that's kind of a controversial addition, so let me know. Hey, if you made it as far as that, like button, subscribe. As always, folks, go be great. Go Matt Rhule. I'll see you in the next one.